like Immer Hustler is DNF from this race as well.
That was unfortunate. I didn't see where he went off.
Still have 20 minutes to go, and the pit stops are, well, let's say fairly close.
Yeah, people are getting very low on fuel now, so they're going to have to start pitting soon. But if you are going to go for one set of tyres, then you want to use as much fuel as possible before you come in, get as much time on the track and get as much on-track advantage before you pop in and take the barest minimum amount of fuel you can dare.
Now I'm a bit surprised how much Kühn has dropped off, and he's seemingly being completely whittled out of his rhythm. And it seems like he's struggling a lot through the mid-turn. I can always see him having to counter steer throughout the mid of the turn. He's also coming in now, as it seems. Maybe he will change tires because the car seems to be borderline undrivable for him right now.
Keep an eye on him as he pits and see if he does take tires or not.
He's the first one to come in.
He is not taking tires. He is just refueling.
Maybe he is using the pit stop to cool down his tires, though.
Bilstein is taking tires.
Kühn back on track. Let's see how the car behaves now through turn 1. Ran in a bit fast, but other than that, seems to be going fine.
Lucas Mind has been driving very conservatively in this race. He can do another lap if he wants to, I think, on his current fuel load.
And he's also definitely going to do so. Can actually hear the BMW of Volker Bilstein. There he is, coming out of the pits right behind him. But that will be a bit interesting now on fresh tires. With the small pace difference they had at the beginning of the race. As Julien Chicot has come into the pits. That's why Dominic Lala is moving up to second temporarily.
Chicot just doing a splash and dash fuel stop. He's now on the move again.
What will the gap be between the two cars? It was about 6 seconds when Kühn entered the pits, not the grid. That was longer time ago, but you'll be able to see after he completed turn 1.
It's only the cars in first and second now who haven't pitted. And Lucas Mind could maybe push for another lap if he really wanted to.
And seems like he is. Of course, the big advantage he has with being conservative on fuel is the less you have to refuel, the less weight you put into your car after the pit stop. And of course, the less stress you put on your tires, and the less stress you put on your tires, the more durable they are. And especially, as said earlier, through Sector 3, this is a big advantage later on as Dominic Lada now pulls into the pits.
Predictably, Ladler not taking tyres, just going for the refueling.
Burning a lot of fuel waiting to be released, gotta say. Julian Chico will definitely get past the Austrian. But what about Sebastian Kühn? There you can see the Porsche to your left. Now out of pit speed. There's Sebastian Kühn.
There's only a couple of car lengths in it.
And Dominik Ladler up into third position. Kühn not even a second behind, but what do the tires on the Audi look like?
Lucas Min finally coming into the pits. Going for a very quick fuel stop, and his car is down and moving again. The gap between him and Sicko was about 6 seconds when Sicko went into the pits, so we'll see what happens as he gets out and moving on track.
Back to racing speeds we go. But it seems like the gap has increased quite a bit. Indeed it has.
Yeah, it's just taking a while for the delta to settle there, and I wasn't sure how far down it would drop, but it seems to be about 12 seconds.
Dominik Ladler going the very wide way around 900R.
He's paid to use this track, and he's going to use all of it. He hasn't paid to use the track, it's free.
Lets you get even more worth out of it. Sebastian Kühn very aggressive over the curbs as well there on the inside. Oh, over-rotating the car. And that lost him a good amount of time and will lose him even more time along the front stretch.
Can be a tricky one with it being a mid-engine car. It does tend to swap from understeer to oversteer as you kind of approach the apex. You have to balance it on the throttle between the two.
The big issue, of course, with the final turn is that you go from a bit of a compression part of the turn, so the part where you still drive uphill the right-hander, to it flattening out while being on the apex. And it's basically the same effect you have in Eau Rouge at Spa, very famously, of course, where you have a lot of grip going into the complex through the left-hander and then going through the left-hander on the top at Radeon, you basically lose that amount of grip that you gained at the bottom and can easily unsettle your car. And as you said, in a mid-engine car, it's amplified quite a lot, because on the Porsche, for example, the engine being mounted on the rear axle just pushes it down and giving you some more grip on the rear axle. The front engine car lets you drift through the turn in a way, but a mid-engine car doesn't do that.
No, it's a. I mean, it sounds obvious because the engine's in the middle, but it is a bizarre mix of the two. And at some point, it decides to go from one to the other, and you have to be aware of that and ready to catch it.
Of course, not helped by the very short wheelbase of the Audi, one of the shortest wheelbase in any GT3. Of course, a shorter wheelbase means the car is more twitchy. You can basically always picture it like that. The wider the tires are away from each other, the more stable it becomes. No matter if like from front to rear or left to right. The further they are away from each other, the more stabilization you have. But on the other hand, the less agile it gets. Because of course you have to move mass across a broader amount of, how would you call that, distance, I guess.
Yeah, it's a bigger distance to maneuver it through.
Yeah. The force has to go a longer way throughout the car.
Yes.
So it's always like a bit of a payoff. That's why no matter which series you will watch, an R8 GT3 will always bounce a lot more, be more aggressive, as Sebastian Green goes way too hot into the Dunlop corner. No, not the one at the Nürburgring. That is different. But
too many Dunlop corners.
Sponsoring deals. But yeah, that's where we always see it. Actually, there's a very good depiction of it with Formula 1 cars. I mean, many find the current Formula 1 cars, and especially ones that came beforehand, like the 2017 to 21 cars, to look very slow and sluggish.
Yeah.
And it comes down to the very same principle. The cars have gotten very big, very, very wide, and of course are the fastest when being very smoothly. If you compare that to especially the 2009 to 2013 cars, which I absolutely love for many reasons, but if you watch them, they are unstable as hell. They're like... driving them is controlling a razor blade, basically. They are on the edge all the time because they are much more narrow. Of course, the tires are also skinnier and all that kind of stuff. But in general, the car is just much smaller and agile. And therefore, every movement you do has more impact on the car.
There's a bizarre parallel with fighter aircraft, if you'll indulge me for a second, where they have a similar thing in that they're either stable or agile, and modern fighter aircraft are so agile they're basically unflyable by a person, which is why they all have to be fly-by-wire. So the computer is detecting what you want to do and trying to make the aircraft handle properly and not just flip out and go mental. Obviously, race cars not that advanced, not that lack of agility. Well,
I wouldn't call it that, to be honest. There are some very agile cars, but of course with them, I mean, there are some AI-driven cars and stuff, but for the most part, there's still a human. Do you remember that? I think it was a Toyota Group C car, which was called, I think, the Bone Breaker or Neck Breaker or something.
Oh, that rings a bell.
The one that could go so fast through a turn, it could actually hurt the driver inside of the car because it was that powerful through turn. On one hand, absolutely amazing. Well, not for the driver, but in terms of the car itself. But on the other hand, yeah, there is a very strict limit on what the cars can do to the what amount of force a car can put on the drivers.
And obviously, like the regulations, they have to keep the costs of development down, and they don't want people to be having to spend huge amounts on full drive-by-wire systems.
I think in theory you could build a car that can do what you explained with the fighter jets and stuff. But, well, in practicality, you could only drive it remotely. But if you're doing 300 kph, you probably don't want to drive remotely.
In a slightly different vein, the Tesla Cybertruck is drive-by-wire. There is no physical connection between the steering wheel and the steering rack.
Imagine dying of input lag. I mean, drive-by-wire technology in itself is awesome. I mean, the AMG GT3 is also steer-by-wire, for example.
Yeah.
But there is a big difference between still having a physical connection in a way, which the AMG I think doesn't have as well. But in the case of the AMG, what you do with the steering wheel is exactly what comes out at the wheel.
Yeah.
In case of, for example, the Cybertruck, you have, I think, 90 degrees or something of steering angle, and the car automatically chooses how much you steer, basically. And
yeah, it's very speed dependent, and whether it turns on four-wheel steering, I think.
Yeah, it just puts a lot of control out of your own hands, I guess. But I mean, those technologies, or the ones they are based on, still come from motorsports, from the race cars we are watching now. There was even a full championship, I think it was by the Scheffler Group, including such things as steer-by-wire, so GT3 cars being refitted with them, or having them as the AMG has on standard. And I mean, those are the ways that technology is really being put forward in automotive technology.
Yeah, motorsport has always been a test bed for new technologies, a way to develop things which trickle down to road cars slowly, sometimes, a bit quicker other times.
You think ABS was made to make your car safer, but no. It was to gain half a second on a 1 minute 30 lap time.
Got about 4 minutes left of the race here. The gap between Lucas Min and Julien Secours has stayed pretty consistent at about 12 seconds. Secours currently doing 38.4 laps, Lucas Min doing 38.3s. Dominic Ladler also joining the 38 and doing 38.7. So lap times have dropped off about a second compared to the beginning of the race. So the tyres obviously feeling it at the end of 45 minutes.
While we come closer to the end of this race, we might as well announce a small thing for the coming week. Or not necessarily coming week, but from December 1st on, you definitely want to check out Discord and the RENNSPORT Socials. Well, let's say we prepared a bit of stuff for it. Want to tease it a bit more, Tim?
I couldn't possibly. There was only one man around here just teasing on Discord, or I mean, it's not
I just
Discord,
asked you a question. I wasn't actively. Joachim teased himself by not just answering my question. It was not my fault. But yeah, we planned a bit of stuff for the Christmas time, let's say.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff we need to get prepared for that, of course. And how do I put it best? We, of course, love our community. And
We do.
This sounds really ironic to say now that I said it out loud, but it actually is the case. But we want to give you some choice to actually decide on some stuff we do, and that's why we prepared some votings for you. Just like, you know, those chocolate calendars you get for the December? We don't give you
Advent
chocolate, but we
calendar.
give you stuff to vote on for 8 days. So, check out these social media channels, especially Instagram and the Discord, because we will also post it there, to get your votings or your voice into the votings, rather said. And I'm really much looking forward to what you guys will vote. Of course, you are probably now questioning what exactly you can vote on, but all that you will know on December 1st, which is in 2 days, so you won't have to wait that long. But Lucas Mint only has 1 lap to go after this one.
He managed to pull out a few extra seconds in the last few laps, but I don't think Julian Sicko has particularly been attempting to contest it. Lucas Mint's last lap went, by the way, 37.4, which is only 0.3 off his fastest lap.
Just showing what's still left in those tires. Bit of a flex, if you ask me. Next week, of course, we will go back to the Nordschleife for the Founders League, and we will have the Porsche Mission R again in the RENNSPORT Community Leagues. So that will definitely be interesting. And the next race in the Community League at Monza we didn't have in quite a while, did we?
No, does seem to be in a while since we've had Monza.
It was definitely the final race of Season 2. But since then, we didn't really see it much in the official contests. Or in the broadcast contests, at the very least. So that will definitely be interesting. The Temple of Speed. And maybe this man will enjoy it, but he definitely enjoys this one. Lucas Mint crossing the line, taking victory here in Season 4, Episode 1. Little jump in time there. So congratulations. I mean, I know he has a lot of fans out there. And I know that this will definitely land on Instagram as well. So make sure to check out his profile.
Yeah,
and Julian Chico coming home in second.
Definitely deserved win by Lucas Mint there. He's been fast and very consistent with his lap times. He'd run a pretty flawless race, really.
Indeed it was. He had to fight for it in the earlier stages. Wasn't an easy way to get past Julian Chico, as the two Founders Pack Porsches stand right ahead of each other, which is nice.
Yeah, they do seem to be having a face-off.
Meanwhile, for Kabirza now also off the final turn, a P5 on his Community League debut. So respect to him, and also the only non-Porsche or Audi to still be running.
Oh, Dominic Ladler's got very good at doing donuts now.
Well, I guess that was it for tonight. As said, check out the RENNSPORT social media channels. And do you have anything left to say? Anything that you want to let us know?
I don't think I do, to be honest. I think the race kind of spoke for itself, and I don't think I can add anything useful.
That is a very diplomatic way of solving it. Just to give you a quick checkup on the standings. Lucas Mint on 148 points, Chico on 135, and Lala on 123. Sebastian Kühn still in the hundreds with 111, and Volker Bierstein on 98. The rest of the points, of course, awarded towards the drivers who DNF'd, unfortunately, but still, we have a very exciting season on our hand.
Yeah, for sure. It was a good start to the season. I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys can do.
If we didn't jinx one thing last season, we said the same thing on the first race of season 3, and it was a very exciting season. So this time, let it be true once more. And I'd say we see you next week on Friday for the Founders League, on Saturday for the community event. And until then, I wish you a great evening, a great weekend, and have a good time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.